All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions, continuing our In Your House review series. This is going to be In Your House 7, Good Friends, Better Enemies. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, and pardon me if I'm not going to be my jovial self in this one because there's a lot of things that happen in this aftermath of this pay-per-view I did not agree with, and I'll get into it as the matches come. April 28, 1996, from Omaha, Nebraska, 9,563 on hand for this blockbuster event. This is spanning after the first one after WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels is in his first title defense as champion. So let's jump right into this. The opening match was originally supposed to be Jake the Snake Roberts versus the British Bulldog. Jake comes out, Bulldog's there. Clarence Mason has got some court order paperwork for the Snake.
The Snake,
Jake takes it, rips it up. Now, meanwhile, Owen Hart is out there with Bulldog this whole time. Jake leaves, comes back with his insurance policy for this match, and it's Ahmed Johnson.
Yep.
So now we've got a tag team match.
Yeah, this is in the middle of Ahmed's push, too.
Yeah, but putting him with Jake, I think he was because I don't think Vince trusted Jake to go a whole 15-minute match here. To be honest,
maybe.
And Jake didn't look like he could do it anyway.
I mean, Ahmed's still very green too, so I didn't think it was a bad idea putting him in a tag match either. You know, and Ahmed was getting a push and he was over, so I didn't have a problem with it.
I mean, the match itself wasn't bad. The ending, I mean, it was in true Cornette fashion. Bulldog hits Jake Roberts in the knee with the racket. Gives him a one-legged Boston Crab, and that's how this match ended.
Yeah.
So a little cheesy in my opinion, but it'll build the feud because going forward, especially Ahmed will have a feud with the Cornette clan.
Yep.
Along with Warrior and Shawn. So our next match is going to be the first one I got an issue with. It's for the Intercontinental Championship. Goldust defending the title against the Ultimate Warrior. Now, leading to this, they cut some pretty good promos doing this. I especially love on Monday Night Raw when the Ultimate Warrior told Goldust that he was going to make a feature film with him kicking his ass from beginning to end. And I'm like, hell yeah.
I remember
putting the IC title back on.
Yeah, I remember cheering this, watching Raw, and I remember saying the same exact thing. They're putting the IC title back on Warrior.
We're heading back towards the WWE Championship.
Wrong.
No, we're not. We're going to do a 7-minute jerk around. To where now I've searched high and low for this. There is no record of Goldust being medically uncleared for this match whatsoever.
Yeah. So Bruce Pritchard said that Goldust was injured.
Yeah, he had his knee wrapped and he was limping.
Right. So that was there. Yeah. So I don't know.
But his bodyguard that comes out. By the way, that was Mantar. You know, with no horns. That was a shock. You know, trying to look all badass and shit. But, I mean, we're doing this whole mind games thing now. Okay, Warrior wins by count out at the 7.5-minute mark.
Yeah,
Warrior spent 3-4 minutes out in the rampway while Warrior's sitting in his chair wearing his coat.
Yeah, Goldust was down the ramp and
smoking a cigar.
Smoking Marlena cigar. And then Vince is like, the Warrior doesn't smoke cigarettes or something like that, right?
Did you hear what Vince said about him? But he put it on Doc. And I quote, Doc said that he was the most reckless individual in the WWE. Why would you say that on the air?
Well, I don't think it was like reckless, like he's a bad worker and hurts people. I think it's more just like out of control. I didn't take it as a negative. I understand what you're saying.
Okay. When I heard it, I was like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, no, I think it was more like that, like he's just uncontrollable. But getting back to the injury, he said, Bruce Pritchard said that they wanted them to have a match, but that he wasn't actually injured and that he really couldn't perform. So then they just, instead of them rebooking a match, which they probably should have done, they should at least so Warrior doesn't actually have a match. He could have fought somebody else. That's why they had to do what they did with all the stuff in the aisle, the bodyguard, and then
he comes back in the ring. He gives him his stuff back, and then he's throwing kisses at the Warrior.
And then Warrior he clotheslines
him right out of the chair.
And that's it. Count out, beats up the bodyguard. So we get to see Warrior do something.
Yeah.
But you could tell the crowd was disappointed. It kind of took the air out. They did cheer when Warrior beat up the. It was kind of like a cheap pop, though. It was like a cheap pop.
Because they wanted to see Warrior whoop somebody's ass.
Warrior looked cool with that green and yellow.
I liked it very much. Yes.
It was cool. Disappointing though.
Where do we go from here with them? Next pay-per-view, Lawler. Come on.
It doesn't get any better.
No, it doesn't.
It's a shame because Goldust is a great wrestler and he could have he could have had a really good match with Warrior, but
Yes, I believe so.
yeah, I think he was injured though, because they wouldn't just you know,
In my opinion, I don't think they should have gone on with the shenanigans.
I
I think
agree,
they
I
should have
agree.
just booked another match
Yeah,
with Warrior if that was the
I'm with
case.
you.
Like Golda say, I can't compete tonight.
Right,
However,
right, right,
here's so and so,
right,
and
right. I agree.
Warrior squashes him,
I agree.
and then looks at Goldberg. Oh yeah, Goldberg.
Goldust.
Okay, Goldust and says, "You're not no pun intended, but you're next."
Yeah.
But not in those
Oh
words.
well.
In any event, the next match I wasn't exactly happy with. Razor Ramon, and when he's wearing his old
I think
attire, by the way.
he is. Did you know? I think it was right before this that they have the Bulldog knocking on the on
Yeah,
Sean.
what I was going to ask you about that. All of a sudden, he's banging on Shawn Michaels' door
That of course later on leads.
to the whole thing with his
Yeah,
wife,
with the
and I love when Shawn said, "With all due respect, don't flatter
yeah,
yourself."
on the next pay per view we'll get on to that because this was great. That was great stuff. But
That
they're
was
they're already setting up the next feud with.
yeah. It's just, but I don't understand.
I
Okay, you're
know.
doing
Didn't think
it
it was necessary. Didn't think it was
on that pay
necessary.
per view. Do it the next night on
Yeah.
Raw. Yeah,
Well, they did, but they started it here, and then the next night on Raw is when they have the confrontation. I believe it's the night after. I could be wrong. I think, but I
so,
think
so yeah. So this is now telling everybody, okay, Sean is going to win that
he's gonna
match. We
win.
all knew
Yeah.
it was going to happen, and
Well,
I'm your next challenger
yeah,
before
yeah.
the match even starts.
I
But
mean,
again, we all
I
knew
mean, in a way, because
what was going to happen.
in a way, but then you could also think like, oh, maybe Bulldog's going to interfere in the match and cost Sean the belt. If you don't know that Diesel's leaving, which I knew already, and I knew Razor was
Yeah,
leaving,
I did,
but yeah,
and I was aggravated when I watched this that night.
yeah. So you got Vader versus Razor.
And he's in his original attire, which I
Mhm.
liked. Problem is, you did not need Razor Ramon to get Vader over. Vader is well known in the business already that people know that he's a badass, he's a mastodon.
You're right. But then again, the thinking is that he's not known to the WWF audience, right? To the wrestling audience, yeah, but you could try to make the argument that, oh, not everybody, there's not a complete crossover, right? Like not everybody watches WCW. I
Not
did,
yet, anyway.
you did, right? And so
Yeah,
we knew who Vader was. I didn't mind because I thought they had a great match, and I thought it was nice
they
that
did.
it wasn't a squash match. Razor got his stuff
Thank
in.
God it wasn't.
Razor was fighting back. He was putting a valiant effort. So
He almost had the Razor's Edge off the top rope. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. And then he drops him whatever to the side. He falls to the side.
I'm glad they didn't squash Razor. I
No, they
just didn't
didn't. They
like the
didn't.
fact that he was fighting Vader, which
No,
this came out of nowhere.
you're right, but remember Razor's on the way out, and they're like, you know what? We'll use Razor for one great match, put Vader over. Vader kicks out of the Vader bomb. Now I don't know if he was supposed to or not, like, but
Nobody's ever done it up until that point.
did you? No, and it was kind of weird because I was like, don't they want to make Vader look strong? But why would Razor kick out? Because remember, not Sean. Scott Hall was kind of known to tell people in WCW, "Oh, I'm going to kick out of your finisher," to piss people off. So I don't know if he went into business for himself. I really don't know.
Maybe he was
But
trying to piss Vince off. What does he care?
maybe. I don't know. Did you notice he cursed at Vader when Vader slams him before the Vader bomb? He curses at him.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if Vader hurt him for real. He dropped him wrong. I don't know, but you could catch it. It's real quick.
Vader was
He
known to doing that.
He
WWE.
was known.
He
But
was.
I thought it was a great match. I thought it was a great match.
I'll get back into Razor here in a minute once we
Vader,
get into the main event.
Yeah, Vader just ends up sitting on him basically. He tries to go for the Razor's Edge again.
Yeah, he flips him over and then he sits on him.
He
And
sits,
that's the
sits on him
pin.
and
Yeah,
game over. So
and whatever.
then
Then they tell Vader and Cornette that
yes,
the next In Your House you will be facing
Yokozuna, yeah.
in a match, and you're going to do it in the dark because the thunderstorm is going to blow everything out. Can't wait to get to that review. Oh my God!
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Trying to watch that in 2 nights was just comical. In any event, the next match on the card was for the tag team titles. It was the Body Donnas and Sonny, every boy's fantasy back then.
Yes, the only good
everybody's
part.
nightmare now.
The only good part of that match, man. This was stupid. This was like
This was
with the pig or whatever. Like this is like we went back to
Godwins
95.
Yeah.
Like we were making progress, right? It's getting better, right? The ratings are getting better.
Well, the Godwins weren't a bad tag team, but they were better as heels later on.
No, but I'm talking about this match with the whole stupid pig gimmick and this like.
Oh yeah, with the autograph picture and all that
yeah. I'm
garbage,
like, this is what? I'm like, what is this?
The only problem with WWE in '96, they were getting better with the tag team division was still lacking. You had the Body Donnas, you had the Smoking Guns, you had the Godwins. That was pretty much it until you brought in back the Rockers and
Well,
you had
well,
then Owen and Bulldog is established as a tag
we're
team.
talking about the new Rockers.
I know New Rockers, nothing ever. Oh, the only I'm going to say this though, only New worked with one tag team that was New Age Outlaws.
Yeah, but it doesn't count though.
I
But yeah, I
know.
get what you're saying.
Somebody had mentioned that in a comment,
Yeah,
and
yeah, but it's not.
I wanted to wait until we talked about it again. That yeah,
It's right on a technicality. On a technicality.
yeah.
When we say newer 2000, we're talking about a rebranding of a tag
Legion of
team.
LOD 2000, Techno Team 2000,
Yeah, we're not talking
new
about
Blackjacks, all that. Yeah.
but technically yes. Okay, fine, fair, fair. Touche, touche. All right.
So yeah, I've been waiting a while to bring that gentleman's comment up in
No,
this because I'm like,
no,
well, wait a minute, he's
hey,
got a point there.
I guess he got it. I guess yeah.
Yeah, he did. It was a good one. So the Body Donnas win this. You know, they get the slop drop. Then the referee's distracted, zip and skip or dip or whatever the hell they are, the change thing, and they roll them up. They get the pin, and Midian, yeah, whatever. Phineas is all upset and stuff, and Henry's like, yeah, it's okay, whatever.
Yeah, he was like all distracted because of Sonny, and it's like, okay, yeah.
And then eventually she'll be their manager anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like she goes around the whole WWE at this point.
This was
Smoking Guns, Godwin's, Body Donnas, Legion of Doom. Good. Oh boy.
I didn't care. I didn't care for this match.
Now, our next match for the WWE Championship. It was a no holds barred match.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Michaels versus Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
Yeah.
Now, this is the Diesel we needed in '95.
Well, listen. To be fair, it helps when you're in the ring with Shawn Michaels.
When your best friend, definitely.
Yeah.
You're going to put on a great match because you trust each other.
Yeah, and Shawn can make anybody look great. Now, same thing with Brett.
I love what Diesel did. He threw his vest at Vince.
Right. How about before that though?
Which I
promo.
love.
How about the cuts the promo that he's got a surprise for Vince? It's live. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking he's going to do something like Brett, like you'll put up the WCW thing. But Shawn got to that first.
Yeah,
I'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, and they had recently had just had a falling out, and Diesel had hit him with the belt and all of that. So.
I mean, the jackknife powerbomb Shawn through the table.
It's later in the match, but
I just wanted to mention it right now because it was towards Vince. We were talking about Vince.
But yeah, he threw it in his face. Then Shawn, I like the way that Shawn came out because Shawn's known to be the pretty boy, the high flyer. You see him off. He's got like this serious stone cold look on his face. Then he just darts in there and he's going toe to toe with him. He's not holding anything back. He gets his ass whipped, but still, he tried.
Think about it. This feud, this has been brewing since the Rumble, since Shawn eliminated Diesel, and Shawn thought he was getting his ass kicked that night, and he shook and he did his hand, and Shawn's like, "Oh, thank God." This has been brewing since because Diesel's on a major losing streak at this point,
and he
has not won a match since the middle of '95. So, I mean, this is. Well, I don't. And now your friend has what you want. And I mean, in storyline. So yeah, it finally blew up at a house show when he hits him with the chair.
I mean, he did beat Mabel though, didn't he?
At SummerSlam, yeah. Yeah. So I'm talking about when the losing streak started prior to him facing Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Then he loses to Owen and gets disqualified. Then he loses to Bret. Then he loses to Taker. No, I'm sorry. He gets eliminated in the Rumble. Loses to Brett, loses to Taker. Now you're going to lose to Shawn. I mean, you're just
on his way out the door. Yeah, and he had already signed him and Scott Hall. I mean, I mentioned that.
And I'm going to get to that in a minute.
And I already knew all of this because I remember we had spoke about. We used to call that number.
Yeah, the back of the yellow pages.
Yeah, back of the thin yellow pages. There was a wrestling hotline. I think it was every Sunday they used to release it. It was either every Sunday or every Monday. I don't forget one or the other.
And when the day I heard it, I dropped the phone. I said, "You got to be kidding me!"
So you knew
it said Diesel and Razor Ramon have left the WWE.
Yeah, you knew they were on the way out.
And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
But to Diesel's credit, man, they put on a hell of a show. You got to see Shawn fight a completely different style of match. It shows how great Shawn. This is Shawn at his physical
way better
peak.
Than WrestleMania 11.
Yeah, you saw Shawn at his physical peak in this match. They tore the house down. Shawn fought a brawler style, different style. This has high spots, but it was good to see. This is also reminds me of the match later on. We'll review that later on when he fights Mankind at Mind Games, which is one of Shawn's greatest matches and one of Mankind's greatest matches.
He was able to go hardcore.
Different style, yeah, and it's nice to see Shawn.
He adapted very easily.
Yeah, he adapted, and we saw that in this match. Diesel was great. Shawn was great. This is my favorite match of those two guys together, hands down.
Now the problem is this had the potential of going into all of 1996 as a mega feud between them. But Vince was so cheap that he could not match the money. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've got a list of the 1996
Sure.
hires.
Well, let's just finish off the match and
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
get
right.
into
Okay.
the contracts.
Sean super kicks him.
Right. Well, how about the spots? Let's talk about the spots. He jackknifes him through the
Oh, that was a bit wicked one too. He
and
bounced off the ring
and
off that one.
they spared the Spanish announce table this time. So it was Vince and
Well, there was
Jerry Lawler,
Vince
right?
targeted, yeah.
Yeah. He jackknifes him, and then Vince is like, "Just stay down, just stay down. It's over, Sean. Just let it go. Just give up."
Yeah, but I'm like, okay, if he does that to spite you, Diesel's the champion. What are you going to do?
Yeah, but I mean,
You know,
but most people don't know what's going on. So
exactly.
But then Sean did a great job at selling. He's getting up, and then he uses the fire extinguisher. He blinds Diesel. Then he's attacking him.
He's in there with the chair, and it has
took the chair. Yeah,
like, that's my microphone.
Yeah, because remember the sound kind of goes temporarily out for a little while, and
yeah,
I don't know if that was
disconnected.
I don't know if that was on purpose or it really happened. I don't know. Either way, it worked. For whatever it was, it worked. Hits him with the steel chair. Then he's warming up the band. And the cameraman screws up because they focus on his foot and then they try to switch it to the last second when the kick happens and you barely see the end of the kick. So whoever's producing that screwed up switching cameras. But then they showed in the replay though. They do show
he caught him good.
He caught him good. And then what you were saying about
he points to him and tells him, "Get that now." Character-wise,
get the hell
out of here.
Best friends. Yeah, that was great. Get the hell out. And then he does the Hulk Hogan
pose and says, and I quote, "You want a big boy to play with."
Yeah. He says, "This is where it's at." He points at the belt.
Now,
great stuff.
But luckily they wouldn't be gone until the curtain call of May 19th, 1996, a week before the next pay-per-view. That's when they each had their last match. At the illustrious curtain call, Shawn and Diesel, and I believe Razor fought Triple H. That I don't know because they never show you his opponent, and I can't seem to find the card on that one. So if somebody can comment us on that.
I think you're right about that. I think it was Razor and Triple H, I think.
And he lost, which would have been a good feud going into '96 of Shawn and Hunter versus Diesel and Razor. Now, you telling me you couldn't give them the money because all they wanted was the money matched, and they'd have stayed. They never wanted to leave.
I think they wanted.
So here's who he brings in, and some of these I agree with because they worked out. Some of them no. Farouk, who? Jim Neidhart as a who? How long did that last? Scott Taylor, Steve Austin. That one was fine.
Right.
Mark
more than fine.
More than fine. Yes. Well, I said some of these were worth it. And some were just like, are you kidding me?
On this night, they set up the Mark Merrow and Hunter Hearst Helmsley feud too, right? There was a promo in the back.
Because the dark match afterwards, Helmsley defeats Mark Merrow.
Yeah.
Then you have Mankind. Again, worked out. Barry Windham or the Stalker. Terry Gordy. Vader. Jake Roberts. Warrior. Crush. Flash Funk. Honky Tonk Man. Jeff Jarrett. Mark Henry and Mr.
Broke 6,000 guitars. Never drew a dime.
Never drew a damn dime. So you're bringing them back again. So these are all the guys, for whatever worse, better or worse, this is what you brought in. You're telling me you couldn't cut that roster by half to keep the two guys that held the backbone of your company for the last 4 years.
Look, I'm no fan of Vince, but it was more along the lines of business was down. And if you give this guy X amount of dollars, then you got to give the other guy X amount of dollars, and the other guy, and the other, and that's what it was.
Granted, but if they're putting the butts in the seats,
but they weren't. The business was. Remember, the business was down. I agree.
I know, but it was getting there.
It was getting better, and you can't, because the thing is, it is getting there. It's getting better, right? It's getting, and then they leave,
and it got even better.
And then they start. Well, not until much later on is what I'm saying.
98.
WCW was dead in the water until Scott
by this
Hall
point.
And Kevin Nash.
By this point, it was garbage.
So, and by but there was no way to predict that was going to happen. But by letting them go, you raise WCW, and then that's how you started losing. You're losing the ratings, and it's one of these things. I agree with you. They should have kept.
I mean, Vince is lucky he got his head above water on this thing because he was an ass hair away from being out of business.
Yeah, because once the NWO really takes off, they're really suffering.
The ratings were just crushing. 83 weeks is no joke.
Yeah, so
not until the Vince Austin match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I don't know if Vince would even admit, like in hindsight, I should have kept them.
I don't think he would. His pride would get in the way.
Right. Yeah. So
he just turned around and said, "Oh, I'm glad that you did everything for me, but I'm not going to pay you."
Right. Yeah.
And it's a shame because you keep these guys. There's no Monday Night War. I believe that Nitro and WCW would have still faltered.
Yeah, but he did us a favor
And
though. We never would have gotten the NWO. We never would have gotten the Monday Night War. So
yeah, and I wouldn't have gotten
indirect,
this arthritis in my thumb from the
yeah,
channel surfing.
flipping back. So indirectly, he actually did the wrestling fans a great service by letting them go because that led
He
to them.
did, but two of my
So
favorites at the time were gone.
yeah,
And now you're leaving Sean to carry the company. Now, no Bret Hart at this point, and Sean is carrying
right,
it
because
through
Brett,
the
yeah,
beginning of the
it's
NWO.
rough. It's rough.
And just like Diesel, Sean is getting the backlash, and finally Sean is getting fed up with it, which you can tell when he comes out. Pyro's not
Yeah,
working. He's doing the thing, the gestures. I mean, he was getting fed up with it because it was technically not on him.
yeah.
So,
I don't know. Well, we'll get more into it in the other. There's gonna be a lot of 1996 what ifs
oh yeah, especially
later
the
on going into,
gotcha.
so
But I had to bring that up. The list that he
yeah,
brought in, as compared to if he would have cut that list in half and kept these guys, what we could have had. I would have
yeah,
liked to see it. I mean,
yeah,
even Diesel and Austin. Come on, man.
yeah, definitely. But I thought that, I mean, the main event was great. So they
It
come
was
main event.
awesome.
It kind of saves the card. The main event is what really made this card. So all right, you guys, let us know what you think. Please like, comment, subscribe. See you guys soon.